Hello everyone and welcome back to another Pokemon Monotype Nuzlocke video. Today, we will be playing through Pokemon Sapphire using only water types. Now, water types are the most abundant type within the Pokemon games, which means we will have a great number of encounters to choose from. So this should be a pretty straightforward run. Let's jump straight into the action and get started. Once again, the rules are as follows. We are only allowed to capture the first water-type Pokemon in each route. If I miss it, I'm out of luck. If your Pokemon dies, it must be released or permaboxed. We must nickname all of our Pokemon to form an emotional bond with them. The hardcore rules are the battle style will be on set. No items are allowed to be used in battle, however held items are okay, and we will be playing with species clause, so if we encounter a Pokemon we already have, we can re-roll until we get something we do not. We start our adventure by naming ourselves Penguin and hop out the back of a moving truck. We meet our rival May and head north to save Professor Birch from a Poochyena. As this is a water-type run, we choose Mudkip, and I'm going to be going with a Harry Potter naming theme for this, so I name him Harry. Eventually, we head north and challenge our rival against her Trico, and we take it out rather quickly. We head back to Little Root, and Professor Birch hands us our Pokedex. Now it's time for a couple of encounters. We find a Wingull, which we capture and name Lily, and we find a Lotad, which we capture and name Hermione. We make our way to Petalburg and visit our dad at the gym, and meet a new trainer, Wally, who we teach how to capture Pokemon. He catches a Ralts, and hopefully he will eventually get a Pokemon that knows more than just the move Growl. We head through Petalburg Woods and take out the Team Aqua Grunt with Lily rather easily. And we make our way to Rustboro and decide to train everyone up to the level cap. During this time, Hermione evolves into a Lombre. It's now time to make our way to the gym and face off against the Rock-type leader, Roxanne. With our water types, this gym should be a piece of cake. Roxanne leads with Geodude, and I lead with Harry, who one-shots the Geodude with a single water gun. She swaps to Nose Pass, where one water gun will bring him to healing range. She goes for a potion, and 2 more water guns takes him down, bringing us our first badge. In that fight, Mudkip did hit level 16, which means it evolves into a Marsh Stomp. We head east and save Pico from Team Aqua, allowing Mr. Briny to take us to Dewford. Here we get the Old Rod and can get 2 more encounters, a Magikarp named Luna and a Tentacool named Cho. Before hitting the gym, we deliver our letter to Steven in the Dewford Cave and do some training on our Pokemon before heading to the gym leader Brawly. With Lily on the team, this battle should also be pretty easy. I lead with Lily and Brawly leads with Machop. Both Machop and Makuhita both go down to 2 wing attacks, winning us our second badge. I'm dead serious, that's the entire fight. Now that we have 2 badges, Mr. Briny will take us to Slateport, where I deliver the Devon goods to Captain Stern. Team Aqua shows up and they get their butts whooped by my team. We head north and have the infamous Nuzlocke killer rival fight north of Slateport. May leads with a Wailmer and I lead with Hermione. I go for an Absorb, which does about a quarter, and May decides to swap to Grovyle. I take this time to swap to Lily, who one-shots him with a single wing attack. May then swaps back to her Wailmer, and I hit it with a Supersonic, and 2 wing attacks will eventually take it down. Last up is Numel, who goes down with a single water gun. We make it to Mauville and curb stomp Wally and his Ralts outside of the gym. While training for the gym, we do find our next encounter, which is a Marill that I capture and name Ron. Also, Luna will evolve into a Gyarados due to the increased level cap. We take on Watson and his electric types, which normally for a water type challenge would be a little difficult, but our starter Harry is part ground type, which means his electric attacks cannot hit us. He leads with a Magnemite, which gets one shot by a Mudshot. The same goes for Voltorb, and last up is his Magneton. Magneton gets off a Confusion, which causes us to damage ourselves, but we do eventually break through and kill it with a single Mudshot. 3 badges down, and only 5 to go. After disrupting the world's weirdest anime convention, Ron evolves into an Azumarill, and Lily evolves into a Pelipper. We then head to Mount Chimney to stop Team Aqua from Team Aqua-ing and face off against Archie. Archie leads with Mightyena, and I lead with Luna. Luna takes him down with 2 Dragon Rages. Next up is Golbat, and I try to go for more, but the accuracy drops from Mightyena's sand attacks has me missing. I swap to Harry and get a water gun off before I swap back to Luna, so my accuracy is back to normal. A bite and a dragon rage get him to healing range, and Archie heals. 2 more dragon rages has him heal again, but I keep at it until Golbat eventually goes down. Sharpedo also goes down to 2 dragon rages. Take that, Archie. We make it to the next gym, which is a fire type gym, and it goes exactly the way you think it will with my team of water types. Flannery leads with Slugma, who gets 1 shot with a mud shot. Same thing happens to her second one. She then pivots to Torkoal. A mud shot from Harry does about a third, and Torkoal uses Body Slam and it gets the paralysis, but I heal it with a Cherry Berry. 2 more mud shots take it out, winning us our 4th badge. We're halfway there. We exit the gym and May gives us the Go Goggles, which unlocks the desert area, and that's going to be our new training spot. Around this time, Cho evolves into a Tentacruel. Now that we have 4 badges, we can take on our Pappy back in Petalburg. Norman uses normal types, and we don't really have anything that's going to be super effective against him. He leads with Slacking, and I lead with Lily. Time to go for a cheesy strat for Norman. I go for a Protect on turns where Truant is not active. I rotate between Protect and damaging moves until Slacking hits the red. When I know he's on a Truant turn, I swap to Luna for free and take him out with some Dragon Rages. Next up is Vigoroth, and a Dragon Rage and Strength take it to healing range. Norman heals, and 3 more attacks brings it down. However, Luna is in the yellow. I swap to Harry to tank a Facade, and swap back to Lily to cheese the Protect strat again, alternating between Water Guns and Protects until he heals. I run out of power points on Protect, so I attempt to go for the kill, and I tank a Facade. I swap to Cho, who also tanks an attack, and I go for an Acid and attempt to get the poison, however it doesn't come. I go to Hermione, who barely takes a hit, and then swap to Ron. I go for a rollout, which does barely anything, but Slacking keeps going for Focus Punch. Each turn he attempts to go for an attack, and my rollout breaks his focus. This will eventually get me the kill. It was stressful, and it was about time we finally had a difficult gym fight. I was starting to think this run was getting too easy. Now that we've beat Norman, Mama and Papa Wally give us Surf, which actually doesn't give us many encounters, as most Surf Pokemon are already on our team. We make it to the Weather Institute, defeat the admin, and get awarded a Cast Form, which is technically an encounter, as when he's in rain he is a water type, but I don't plan on using him, so he gets sent to the box. We heal up and take on our next rival fight against May. She leads with Numel, and I send out Harry, who kills it with a single Surf. Next up is Grovyle, and I swap to Cho, who takes it down with 2 Acids. She pivots to Wailmer, and who goes down to some Absorbs from Hermione. Gotta get good, May. We make it to Fortree City, and I can't get into the gym due to something invisible blocking the way. So, we meet Steven outside of the city and take down a Kecleon, which awards us the Devonscope. We do have a couple more encounters to get to before taking on the gym. I get the Good Rod and catch a Goldeen named Neville, a Corpish named Minerva, and a Carvana named Draco. I really want Draco on my team, so I level him up and he evolves into Sharpedo, and I replace Ron with him on our team. With our new team, we take on Winona, the Flying-type gym leader. I taught Draco the TM for Ice Beam, so this should be easy. She leads with Swellow, and I lead with Draco. Draco takes it down with a single Ice Beam. She swaps to Pelipper, and I swap to my own, which I taught the TM for Shockwave. After stalling with Protect for a turn, 1 Shockwave takes it down. Next up is Skarmory, who goes down to 2 Surfs. Finally, Winona goes to her Ace Altaria, and I swap back to Draco. Dragon Breath gets the paralysis on us, making me slower, and Altaria sets up a Dragon Dance. I go for the 4 times super effective Ice Beam, and it leaves Altaria with just a sliver of health, but we get the freeze. I keep spamming Ice Beam until Winona uses 2 Hyper Potions, and once she's finally out of potions, Ice Beam gets us the kill, earning us our 6th gym badge. We make our way to Lily Cove and have another battle with May. She leads with Swellow, and I go with Draco, who dispatches her with a single Ice Beam. Scared of a Leaf Blade, I swap to Lily, who goes for a Fly and leaves Grovyle with just a sliver of health. I cannot safely tank another Leaf Blade, so I swap to Cho, who takes a critical hit. I go for Cut, which misses, and I take another Leaf Blade. With only 11 health left, Cut finally connects and takes down Grovyle. Not wanting to risk being taken out by a fire type when Numel comes out, I swap to Harry, who one-shots her with a surf. Last out is Wailmer, and I swap to Luna. Wailmer gets the confused with Water Pulse, but I take it down with 2 Dragon Rages. After this, we do eventually catch a Psyduck in the Safari Zone that we name Seamus. We go to Mount Pyre to take on Team Aqua and get the blue orb, followed by flying to Slateport to watch them steal the submarine and bring it back to their base in Lily Cove. We beat up the admin, and the team takes off in the sub again. We can't get to them until after we have the ability to dive, so now it's time to train for the next gym. We surf to Lily Cove where we get the Super Rod. This opens up some more encounters. We catch a Wailmer named Maxime, and after a bunch of attempts we find a Staryu that I named Lupin. Lupin replaces Hermione on the team. There's a large level gap between the gyms, so we have to get up quite a few levels. During this time, Harry evolves into a Swampert. With everyone around level 40-ish, we take on Tate and Liza with a double battle. This is Sapphire, not Emerald, so they only have 1 Pokemon apiece, Solrock and Lunatone. I lead with Harry and Draco, who both use Surf. This brings Lunatone to the red and kills Solrock. Tate and Liza heal, and 2 more Surfs will take it out. Easiest gym by far. Now that we have Dive, we head to the abandoned ship to get the Water Stone, allowing us to evolve Staryu into Starmie. We head to the underwater seafloor cavern and find Kyogre. Archie shows up and challenges us to a duel. I mean a Pokemon battle. He leads with Mightyena, and I accidentally had Lupin out front, so I immediately swap to Harry. Mightyena takes a Mud Shot, and Archie heals. 3 more Mud Shots will take him out. Next up is Crobat, and they get the Confuse off, so after hitting myself, I swap to Lily. A Shockwave does about a third, but it's not enough, so I swap to Lupin. 1 Psychic is more than enough to take down Crobat. Last up is Sharpedo, so I swap to my own for the honor battle. Slash does more than half, so I decide to swap to Luna, who uses Strength to take him to healing range. And 1 more leaves him with a Sliver. I swap to Cho, who finishes him off with a Surf. Now Dum Dum uses the red orb on the blue Pokemon and he runs away. We follow Kyogre to Pseudopolis and enter the Cave of Origin, and are about to have the most epic battle of all time. For years, scholars will describe how awesome it was. The tale will be passed down to my grandchildren. And I threw a Master Ball and named him Hagrid. We do get 1 final encounter in a Chinchou, which we name Bellatrix, and level it up to Lantern. She replaces Cho on the team and will be key in the final gym battle. After getting everyone up to snuff, I head to take on Wallace. Wallace sends out Love Disc, which goes down to only a single Thunderbolt. He goes to Wishcash, which is immune to electricity, so I swap to Luna. 2 Strengths and a Hydro Pump get it to healing range. I eventually take it out with 4 Dragon Rages. Wallace goes to his first Celio, and I swap back to Bellatrix. He goes down to 2 Thunderbolts. Seeking is up next and gets the confusion off. We do hit a Thunderbolt, which brings it to yellow, but I do not want to risk losing Bellatrix, so I swap to Lily, who takes it out with a Shockwave. Last up is Milotic, who keeps spamming Recover between our Thunderbolts. Eventually, it gets a hit, and we go low, so we swap around to a whole bunch of people until we eventually land on Draco, who continually spams Crunch until it goes down. This gives us our final badge, and we head for the Pokemon League. We make our way through Victory Road and face off against Wally, who finally has a somewhat decent team. I find it interesting they made him a secondary rival, but you only face him, like, twice. Anyway, he leads with Altaria, and I lead with Draco, who one-shots him with an Ice Beam. Roselia gets the healing range after an Ice Beam, so a second one and a Surf will take him out. Wally goes to Magneton, and I swap to Harry, who makes quick work of him with a Mud Shot. Delcatty is up next, so I swap to Draco. A Surf brings it to healing range, and a second Surf and Crunch take her out. Last up is Gardevoir, and I 2-shot it with a Stab Crunch. At this point, we're severely underleveled for the Elite Four, so I go in and train almost everyone up to the level cap. I do get some TMs to boost some of my move pools. This is actually the team that we're going into the Elite Four with. I don't play with Whiteout Claws, so if we do die here, we can rebuild all 6 members, but I think I can do it with what we have. First up is Sydney and his Dark types. We lead with Lily, and 1 Surf brings Mightyena to just a Sliver. Sydney heals, and another Surf brings him to the red. We outspeed and take him out with a shockwave. Next up is Cacturn, who is easily taken out by 2 flies. He moves to Sharpedo, and I swap to Bellatrix. 1 Thunderbolt destroys him. He then swaps to Absol. A Surf does more than half, but their Berry heals them up. I go for Thunderbolt, and that brings Absol to healing range. We are able to take him down with a Thunderbolt and a Surf after that. Last up is Shiftry, and a Fly breaks through Double Team and brings him to the yellow. 2 more Shockwaves take him down. The second battle of the Elite Four is Phoebe and her ghost types. Luckily for me, I have Draco. She sends out Dusclops, who goes down to a single stab crunch. The same fate goes for her Sableye, Banette, second Banette, and when we get to the last Dusclops, Crunch brings it to the yellow. They get off a Confuse Ray, but lucky for us, their Berry gets them out of healing range. We break through our confusion and finish her off with a final Crunch. 2 down, 2 to go. Third on the chopping block is Glacia and her ice types. They send out Glalie, and I go with Harry, who easily takes him out with a single Earthquake. Next is Celio, and I pivot to Bellatrix. 1 Thunderbolt brings them to the red. Glacia goes for the full restore, and I hit Celio again, and the second Thunderbolt takes it out. The second Celio comes out, and again to avoid the heal, I hit it with a Surf, followed by a Thunderbolt. The second Glalie comes out, and I swap back to Harry, who uses Earthquake that takes her to the yellow. We easily tank an Ice Beam, and a second Earthquake takes her out. Last up is Walrein, and I swap back to Bellatrix, who easily takes him out with 2 Thunderbolts. The last member of the Elite Four before the champion is Drake and his dragons. Draco leads and one-shots Shelgon, Altaria, first Flygon, second Flygon, and his Salamence with Ice Beam. This was probably easier than any gym battle we've had this run. All that's left is the champion Steven, and I am shook that I have not lost any Pokemon this run. Steven uses mostly Steel types. He leads with Skarmory, and I lead with Bellatrix. 1 Thunderbolt brings it to the red, and they get a Poison off. They heal, and 2 more Thunderbolts brings him down. He goes to Aggron, and I swap to Harry, who takes him out with a single Earthquake. Next up is Cradily, and I go for a Surf and an Earthquake, but we go down to a couple of Giga Drains. Like my last run, I'm going to go a little bit more aggressive this battle. I swap to Lily, who brings them to healing range after a Surf. Steven heals, and a crit Surf takes them to yellow. I go for a Fly and a final Surf, which takes them out. Up next is Claydol, so I swap to Draco, who one-shots with Crunch. He then sends out the Metagross. Crunch does barely anything, so I go to Luna. I set up 3 Dragon Dances, but I go down to a Hyper Beam before I can end up doing anything. I swap to Lupin, who spams Bubble Beam until he finally goes down. Last up is Armaldo. Bubble Beam brings him to the yellow, and I swap back to Draco, who takes him down with an Ice Beam, winning us the run. Overall, this run was really fun, just like the last one. While we had many more encounters to choose from, I didn't feel quite as prepared for some of the fights, and I had to kind of just feel it out. I am lucky that I did not lose any Pokemon prior to the champion. Whatever challenge of these I do next, I think I should pick a less abundant type or a harder game. Either way, I still had a lot of fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to give it a like and consider subscribing to help out the algorithm. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next video.